Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Pam and today's video is going to be a mid-year checkout for my reading goals for 2022 and also the mid-year book freakout tag. So I wanted to do this video. It's pretty late right now, but I wanted to do this video anyway. I just watched like 2 intense documentaries on Netflix and I was like, I need something to brighten me up. I need something to I just can't go to sleep on that note. What about a mid-year check-in with you for my reading goals and also like how my reading is going on, and also like doing a fun tag, because why not? So for 2022, I had 4 goals. The first one is to read 75 books. So far, I've read 50, which is great. It's really, really great. We're exactly like 6 months in 2022, and I've read 50 books. I want to read 75, so I only have to read like 25 more books to achieve my goal. And I know I can do it because I've been reaching my goal and surpassing it for the past 3 years, so I know I can do it. So I'm not concerned about that one at all. Next is to finish 10 series or to be caught up on 10 series, And I'm happy to say that this year I've finished 9 series. Like, what? I finished 9 series. I'm quite surprised by that. I started 11. I read 14 sequels this year, and I finished 9. What is me? What's going on? What? I'm so surprised. I'm really curious. I have my computer here. I'm really curious to see like which series I actually like completed, finished. Okay, so yeah, I finished the Throne of Glass series. I finished the Broken Heart trilogy. I finished oh my god, what is called? What is it called? The Dream Blood duology. That's what it's called by N.K. Jemisin. I finished I finished the Forward series, also like mini short story novellas kind of thing. I finished the Symbiosis duology. I finished a Song Below Water series. I finished Arusha, the Soti Pandava series. I finished the first Mistborn trilogy, and I finished the Parable of the Sower and Parable of the Talents. So Parable duology, yeah. Wow, I read a lot of duology this year, so maybe that's why I've done quite well. But yeah, I'm really happy. I'm sorry if you can hear my boyfriend, but I'm really happy with that one. The other goal that I have for 2022 was to read more diversely, and by doing that, I gave myself a really specific goal of having half of my TBRs to be by BIPOC authors or having BIPOC characters. And let's see with the compile where I'm at. So 54% of the books that I've read were by BIPOC author. 46 no, but like it's more than half of it. So I'm really happy with that. I achieved my goal so far. I just have to keep it up. The one that I think I'm not doing so great with is my 5-star predictions. I can't even remember my 5-star predictions. I had 13 books on my 2022 5-star predictions, and I've read only 4 of them. And 2 of them were 5-star, 2 of them were 4 stars. It's not bad, but I just concentrate and make effort in that specific goal for the rest of the year. Go to some statistics because I love stats. Let's go. And like I said, I read 50 books. Wow, okay. So the beginning of the year was amazing, The 4 first months are always my best reading months of the year. It's just a fact. I don't know why, but it just is every single year. My best month was in March. I read 12 books. Half of the books that I've read were from audiobooks, which is no surprise here because in the last couple years, audiobooks have been really a lifesaver for me for my reading. Because I do like to do multiple things at once, and I like to be productive with my reading. And sometimes I feel like I am not productive if I just sit on the couch and read physically. So while I listen to an audiobook, I can do like other things. The genre, oh, that's gonna be interesting. Okay, so my most read genre is fantasy, which is no surprise. I think it is every single year. And my second one sci-fi, which is no surprise again. After that, it's if I do mix like mystery, horror, and thriller together, it's the next one. And then after that, we have nonfiction. Then we have classic, contemporary, and one historical fiction, which is always a genre that I push aside for some reason. I have not read a lot of nonfiction, which is really surprising because I read so many nonfiction last year, and I don't know, I'm not picking them up this year. Like overall, I had a good reading year so far because I've given 24 books 5 stars, 19 books 4 stars, and 3 books 3 stars. I don't read nonfiction, but yeah, just I'm really happy with. I'm really happy with. Age category is no surprise for me. In the last couple of years, I've been gradually going through like more of an adult phase. Is it a phase? No. I think I've been more interested by adult books than YA, which was not the case like in 2019 and prior to that year. But yeah, like 64% of my books are adult books, which is, like I said, no surprise here. And then we have 10% young adult. Oh no, we have 22% middle grade. Wow, okay. 10% young adult and 4% new adult, because I do consider 12th class to be new adult. Like, they're sex scenes, so they're not white. Yeah, that's interesting too. So 56% of the books that I've read were part of a series, and 44 were standalone. Which is just the perfect balance for me. I love fantasy and sci-fi, so a lot of them are part of a series, and so it just makes sense that it's a little bit more up there, the percentage, than standalone. But yeah, it's a good balance. I love it. I really love it. I think it's really interesting. No surprise here for the authors. 64% of the books that I've read this year so far were by women authors, which is just amazing because yes, women and men, so 30% of the books that I've read were by men, which I think is just a perfect balance because more women, and I also have 6% that were by non-binary authors, which I think is really important too. So, if we put them together with the women, because they're not men, 70% of the books that I've read were not from men authors, which yay, love it. And if I do read from male authors, I will try my best to read from non-problematic authors. So I discovered a lot of new authors this year so far. So 46% of the books that I've read were from new authors to me. Like, what? That's amazing. That's a lot. That's really a lot. And I think that it's really cool that I've discovered new authors, and I also go back to authors that I know I love. But the new authors thing for me is really the fact that I had such a good reading year that, when you're discovering like new authors, sometimes it just doesn't work. But for me, it did. which is great. I'm so happy with. And I discovered like new author by authors. One video that I want to make like pretty soon is a author by authors for me list, you know, because I have so many more now. This is for the stats mid-year check-in thing. I'm really happy with my reading so far. I just really hope it's just gonna be as good as it was in the beginning for the rest of the year, you know? It would sucks for it to just like crash, but I don't think so. I think I'm in a good place right now, so reading wise. So yeah. Yeah, so let's move on to the tag now. So it's the mid-year book freakout tag. Everyone's been doing it. I'm gonna leave the questions down below, but yeah, let's start. So the best book you've read so far in 2022 is for sure for me, Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel. This book is amazing. Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel is one of my favorite books of all time. I can't say it's my favorite book, but it's one of my favorite books like ever. I just love it so much. Emily has a way with to write characters and to make them like so compelling and to make them feel like real people. And she did the same thing in this one. Like The Glass Hotel was a bit of a flop for me. It was not like bad in any way. It was just not as good as Station 11, you know? But Sea of Tranquility is just chef's kiss. It's amazing. The story is even more sci-fi, you know, than Station 11. There is a part of like a pandemic because that's what she does. And our characters are exquisite. They're so human. I don't know how to explain this, but they feel so real. And this book had me shook. It really surprised me at some points, which I was not expecting, and I loved it. And loved it so much. So this is my best book so far this year. I have so many others, but like this is the top one. Next question is the best sequel you've read this year, and I have to go with The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This book is amazing. This is the best finale that I've read ever from a series. Everything was insert. Everything just wrapped up perfectly. And even at the end, at the very end of the book, Brandon Sanderson surprised me and shook me. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting another like twist to come, but it did. This was amazing. I don't know what to say because I don't know what to say because I don't want to spoil it. But if you haven't read Mistborn yet, like, what are you waiting for? Especially if you love fantasy, like, yeah, amazing. Next is a new release you haven't read yet, but you want to, you know, before the end of the year. So the first one is 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. My physical copy is in another room where my little kitty is sleeping, my little kitten, so I don't want to wake her up, so I'm not gonna go and grab it. But yeah, you know, in 9 Lives, it's really the book that's gonna make it or break it for me, for Peter Swanson, because I loved Hate Perfect Murders, hated to my core every value break. It's just like yeah, it's not gonna work for me. If it doesn't work, it's just I'm done with Peter Swanson. But you know, this one I have like high hopes because it kind of have the premise of And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. The same kind of premise, and I really love that book, so I have hopes. The other one is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Again, with this book, it's either gonna make it or break it for me for Riley Sager. So I love his previous work. I love his first book, which is Final Girls. Final Girls. And I also loved The Last Time I Lied, which are his two first book. I haven't read Home Before Dark and Lock Every Door yet, but I'm planning to, because I want to see like if I like his older works than his newest work, because I hated Survive the Night. I hated that book so much. I was scared for that one, but I have it. I want to read it, so it's gonna happen. It's part of a book club, so I'm gonna read it. The other book that I'm so excited to read for 2022 is The Rise and the Reign of the Mammals by Steve Brusate. So I've read The Rise and the Fall of the Dinosaurs by Steve Brusate in 2020? 2019? 2020, I think. And I absolutely loved it. I loved it. It was amazing. I had a blast reading that book, and I just can't wait to read that one. And I just discovered like a couple weeks ago that this book existed. So I'm even more excited to have it in my hands and just to read it. And there's illustration, and Steve Brusate knows what he's talking about. Like he knows. He knows. So I'm really excited. I love science books. Next is the most anticipated books for the rest of the year. So the first one is Anywhere You Run by Wanda M. Morris. I read all her little secrets this year, and I really loved it. And I'm just so excited for this one. This is kind of a sequel prequel following like the characters that we were introduced in all her little secrets, and I'm here for it. I'm so excited. Next is A Wilderness of Stars by Sharon Shaw. So I discovered Sharon Shaw this year and her witch book. Well, I read only one, but I know she has other ones. But this one is going to be a new release, and I'm so excited. I love witches, and I think Sharon Shaw can do like witches books so well because of the atmosphere. So I'm so excited for this. Next is the biggest disappointment. So my biggest disappointment was The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. So this was my first Lucy Foley, and I was disappointed. Too many characters, they all felt the same. The twists were boring. This is forgettable. I can't even tell you what happened. Yes, this was a disappointment. I know I gave it 3 stars because 2 for me, 1 star and 2 stars are like books that I hate and that I know what's going on, 3, I'm just like, it's forgettable. I don't care. So I'm still interested to read our 2 other books, The Hunting Party and The Guest List, just to see where I stand on her writing and her books. But yeah, this one wasn't a hit. It's just wasn't. My biggest surprise. I have 2. So the first one is, I just talked about it, but it's Winterwood by Sharon Shaw. This was such a surprise. This is firstly a all-crate book that I've had on my shelf for the longest time. I think it's been on my shelf since December 2019, and I just read it in 2022. But this was amazing. This was amazing. The atmosphere, the characters, the writing style, the feeling that I had reading that book was perfect. And so this was such a surprise because I absolutely loved that book. And my expectations were so low. I didn't want to read that book. I thought I would hate it, but I loved it. The other big surprise that I had this year is Confessions by Kanae Minato. This was my first translated book from Japanese to English, and this is a thriller, and this was so weird and unique and so not like anything I've read before. So I was so surprised. And because of that, I want to read this author's other book. I loved it. I loved it. This was amazing. This was such a good thriller, and it was just not what I'm used to read in thrillers and mystery. Yeah. If you haven't read it yet, what are you waiting for? Like, go read it. I'm gonna put it in front of Winterwood just because Winterwood is glaring at you, and yeah. Next is favorite new author. So either debut or new to you authors. And I said previously in the beginning of the video, like I discovered like so many new authors. And so I picked two authors that were new to me, not debut, but they just, I think they're gonna be on my auto-buy authors list because their books were amazing. The first one is Rivers Solomon. So I've read Unkindness of Ghost and The Deep this year. Both of them were absolutely amazing, especially Unkindness of Ghosts, but The Deep was really good too. It's really the writing style of Rivers Solomon's that makes it for me. The writing style is just absolutely beautiful, and I want to just consume it and to just take everything. And I'm so excited to read more by them because these two books were amazing. Really, really amazing. The other one is Octavia E. Butler. So I've read Parable of the Sword and Parable of the Talents really recently, and I absolutely love them. They're like weird, not typical dystopian books, but because that's why I love them so much, because they make me uncomfortable, they make me think, they make me reevaluate my life and why and what I'm doing. They're just amazing. So I can't wait to read more by this author because I think she's like the queen, if you want, the master of dystopians, because yeah, she is. Next is newest fictional crush. So I had to pick Madame Blackbeak. So I have Kingdom of Ash here with me, but Madame Blackbeak, yeah, she's amazing. If I did encounter like Madame in any way, I would leave my boyfriend in a heartbeat. I would go with her. I would follow her to the end of the earth, and I will give her my everything. She's amazing. I love her so, so much. Next is newest favorite character, and for that one I had to go with Morgan Crow from Nevermore. She is so funny. She is what I hope I was as a child. She's unapologetic. She is who she is, and yeah, I love her so much, and I can't wait to see her growth with this series, and just to see her growing as a character and as a person, and not just as a child, because it's gonna be like a 10-book series, and this is only the first one, and she's like kind of like middle grade age. She's like 11, something like that. Yeah, she's 11 years old, and she's just like, I can't wait to grow with her. I can't wait to see her growing. Next is books that make me cry. First one is here, The Hero of Ages. So the ending of that book, the last 100 pages, the last 150 pages made me sob, made me cry. It just broke my heart in a million pieces. But I also cried because, I absolutely love reading those books, and I don't know when I will have the time to reread them. I was just so happy that I've read them, and I cried. I was grateful. But I know, boring. The other one is this one. Kingdom of Ash is the second book that I finished this year, and I read it in 24 hours. And this book made me cry so hard. So hard. If you have read it, you know when I cried. If I just did 13, I cried. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Next is a book that made me happy. And for that one, I picked Arusha in The Nectar of Immortality by Roshni Shakshi. So this is the fifth and final book in the Pandava series. This book made me happy because everything was wrapped up perfectly, in my opinion. and I'm just so happy for those characters, and I'm just so happy that I enjoy Roshni Jackson's book, because I hated the Star-Touched Queen and A Crown of Wishes books. I hated those books so much. And I was, going into the series, I was scared I would not like those books, but I absolutely loved them, like so much. And yeah, these books just makes me happy. They just do. Next is the most beautiful book you've bought this year so far or received. And for that one, I have to go with A Woman by Louisa May Alcott. I mean, what do you want more? What is it you want more? Like, this book is absolutely perfect, inside and out, which is amazing. The last question is what books you have to read before the end of the year. I could put like my entire 5-star prediction list, but I'm gonna go with 2 books that are super high on my TBR. The first one is Wondersmith, The Calling of Morgan Crow, which is the second book in the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend. I loved Nevermore, like I said earlier, and I'm just super excited to read the second one. I love middle grade, I want to read more, and I just feel like this book has to be read before the end of this year. And the last one is The Relentless Moon by Mary Robinette Kowal. This is the third book in the Lady Astronaut series, and I need to read this book to be caught up on the series. And yeah, I want to be caught up on it. And I just really love this series so much, and I'm really excited to read that one. Actually, it's super high on my TBR, so I need to read this before the end of the year. I just do. So here you have it, my mid-year check-in with my stats, and also the mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know this video is quite long, but I really hope you enjoyed it. And let me know in the comments which book is the #1 top spot that you have to read before the end of the year, as I would like to know. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!